Ibex are known for their incredible climbing ability, but how good can they climb? In this video, we find out just how good an ibex can climb. Because some of these cliffs are so steep that even a seasoned rock climber would never attempt to climb them. Ibex are famous for being able to scale seemingly vertical cliffs with ease. But just how vertical is too vertical for these guys? To answer this question, let us head over to the mountains of Spain, where we'll be following a herd of Spanish ibex. As we can see here, these guys aren't afraid of heights as they make their way up this rather tall mountain. We can also see here that they don't seem to mind the angle of the cliff either. They just keep on climbing higher and higher. These goats are truly fearless. And while it may look like they're taking their sweet time getting up this mountain, they actually get to the top faster than most rock climbers could. Ibex are capable of scaling sheer rock faces at speeds that would put most mountaineers to shame. But there's a reason why these guys are able to climb so fast. Unlike most mammals, ibex have split hooves. This means that when they step on a rock or cliff face, their foot essentially becomes a specialized climbing shoe. Not only does this give them traction to grip onto the rock, but it also allows them to move quickly and efficiently, making them some of the fastest climbers in the animal kingdom. But enough about how they climb. Let's focus on just how vertical is too vertical for these guys. And to do that, let's take a look at this picture here. Now I know what you're thinking. That doesn't look too bad. It looks like maybe a 30-degree angle or so. Well, think again. That's actually a 65-degree angle. And if you didn't believe me, let's check out this next picture. Here we can see our brave ibex scaling yet another sheer cliff face. But just look at the angle of this one. It's almost straight vertical. Yet this ibex doesn't seem to mind at all. And if we zoom in, we can see exactly why. Ibex have special adaptations to help them grip onto rocks and cliffs. Their feet are equipped with sharp, sturdy claws that dig into the rock, while their flexible hooves allow them to get a good purchase on even the smallest of ledges. These adaptations, combined with their split hooves and sure-footedness, allow them to navigate some of the toughest terrain on Earth. But what about the falls? What if an ibex slips and falls hundreds of feet? Will they be okay? Turns out that ibex are pretty much invincible. Not literally invincible, but they are incredibly tough. An ibex does fall, they have a few tricks up their sleeves to help them survive the fall. First, they have padded feet which help cushion the impact. Second, their bodies are flexible enough to absorb a lot of the shock from the fall. And third, their balance is so good that they are often able to scramble back onto all 4 feet during the fall. So while it may look like a death sentence from the outside, a fall from hundreds of feet up might not be too bad for an ibex. But what about the falls that they can't survive? How high is too high for these guys? There's actually only been one recorded instance of an ibex falling to its death, and even then, it was only because it got tangled in some barbed wire. So really, it seems like there's no limit to how high an ibex can fall and survive. But what about the times when they don't fall? How high can they climb without falling? As we can see here, these ibex are scaling a sheer cliff face that looks to be almost straight vertical. And while it may look easy for these guys, it's actually a pretty impressive feat of strength and endurance. To put it in perspective, if a human tried to climb this cliff, they would need to use ropes and harnesses, and even then, it would be a very slow and difficult process. Ibex are basically doing the equivalent of free soloing up a 65-degree angle cliff. Now that's impressive. Okay, so now let's try and figure out just how high can these guys climb without falling. Well, unfortunately, there's no definitive answer to that question. But based on what we've seen in the wild, I would say that ibex can climb as high as they want without falling. The only thing that would stop them from climbing higher is either a lack of food or a lack of oxygen. But other than that, they could basically climb forever. But if we were going to guess at just how high these guys can climb, I would say that they can climb at least 2,000 feet up a 65-degree angle cliff without falling. It's taller than the Leaning Tower of Pisa and almost as tall as the Eiffel Tower. Not bad for a little goat. Now I know what you're thinking. 2,000 feet is great and all, but what does that even look like? Well, let's find out. Now imagine a person standing at the bottom of a cliff. That person is going to represent the starting point of our ibex climb. Now imagine that same person climbing up 2,000 feet. That's how high this ibex will climb, but still not impressed. Well, how about we make it a little more visual? Here we have a picture of a 2,000-foot tall cliff. And right here is our ibex, starting at the bottom. Now Now watch as our ibex makes its way up the cliff. See how it takes the sharpest turns and climbs the steepest drops? That's the kind of stuff that these guys are made for. And finally, after a long but steady climb, our ibex reaches the top of the cliff. It takes a breather and looks out over the landscape. From this height, it can see for miles and miles. It's truly a majestic sight. But while the view is nice, the ibex knows that it's time to get moving. It takes one last look around and then starts making its way down the cliff. The ibex makes quick work of the descent, thanks to its sure-footedness and sharp hooves. It moves so quickly and gracefully that it looks like it's floating down the mountainside. And before long, it's back on solid ground. The ibex shakes off the dirt and debris from the climb and takes a moment to survey its surroundings. It's safe, it's sound, and it's ready for whatever challenges the mountain throws its way. And that's the story of the ibex, a truly remarkable creature that can climb to dizzying heights with ease. But what do you think? You think you could climb as high as an ibex? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other videos about the amazing animals of the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.